In any cases, all these processes impacts life on the earth. So mainly if you consider natural resources as sources which support the life on the earth, they are living and non-living masses or earth material is classified into living and non-living. We are focused to only living because we are getting impacted. But distribution of material is throughout in the life and where there is no life. That is both in living and non-living. So we have to consider all those which directly causes impact on life, which do not, but there are some processes which are causing some cyclic imbalances. If you look at the earth material, it is made up of element as a major composition. All elements which are present in periodic table are there, which are under process of modifications, changes, dissociation, association, mobility, stability, all these processes are happening in that earth material. All are made up of different elements which are present in the periodic table. We know that they bond together, they break down, they again bond together, form new composition, again it breaks down and bonds together. So this is continuously happening process. If you divide that into that elements or material divide into where it is associated in the life, organized in the life, and where it is associated or organized in non-living things. To the left hand side, you can see the earth crust material having elements, majorly 9 elements listed here according to the decreasing order of its concentration. Where you can see oxygen is the element which is available in ample amount as a major composition of the earth. This is what you have studied already in your earlier classes of BSc 1 and BSc 2. Composition of the earth, that was the topic. So these are the 9 elements you are seeing to the left hand side: oxygen, silica, aluminium, iron, magnesium, calcium, sodium, potassium, titanium, and manganese. These are the 9 elements: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Titanium is a minor one. So all these are 9 or 10 elements which mainly constitutes the Earth's crust and rest there as non-living material. But elements are distributed throughout the organic world, that is life. From where it come? It again come from the nature. It again come from the non-living sources. Why we are considering this in environmental sciences? Because we are composed of what it is there around us. So we are the part of nature. Nature is made up of elements and material, and our organic world is derived from those elements, those resources. That's why we are studying it. So if you check the distribution of elements in organic world or in living world, the right hand column says that oxygen is there, which constitutes organic body or our body. Oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, calcium, phosphorus, potassium, sodium, chlorine, and magnesium. If you compare two columns, left hand side and right hand side columns, organic world do not have few elements in it, like silica. Our body, our organic body do not compose silica. Okay, if you check few exceptions of plants, that may have silica as its composition. Like I remember my BSc lectures, my teachers taught me that plant named Casuarina, had some silica particle as its body structure. So silica can be there in few plants or few other organic world. Like few shells need some amount of silica to build their body. Maybe that way. But human beings, if you consider we don't have silica as composition of our body. So organic world do not take everything or all elements from the surrounding. It has selective approach to build its body by using selective elements like oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, calcium, phosphorus, potassium, sodium, chlorine, and magnesium. Right? You are nowadays taking supplement of vitamin, isn't it? In this pandemic, what you are taking? You're taking vitamin D, and you might have seen that vitamin D comes with a mixture of zinc. So it is mentioned there on the wrapper of the vitamin tablets, vitamin D with zinc, isn't it? So zinc is another element which increases your immunity. It supports your defense system against any infection. So zinc element like zinc is needed. But you can see that it is not listed in the right hand side column. Zinc is not there. It is a trace element, minor element. Though it is not mentioned here, those minor element or trace elements are necessary for our body, right? You might have heard that to increase the body immunity, boil water with the gold for half an hour and drink that water. So some amount of gold element will be there transferred into the water. We create a sanskara on water with the gold and drink that water. It will increase your immunity. Thus says Ayurveda. So gold is not listed in here in the right hand side column, right? Those are trace elements or minor elements which are necessary for building our body. But if they are there in minor scale, then it is okay. You cannot overload zinc in your body. You should not take that vitamin D with zinc every day. If you ask your doctor, doctor will say that take one tablet after 2 days and take totally 5 tablets. That will be sufficient dose. And again, after the gap of 10 days, again you can take one tablet every 2 days, likewise, or every 3 days. So it those tastes like orange flavored pill. So you can chew it as a vitamin source and source of zinc. And don't necessarily, it is not toffee. Don't eat it every day. Take that care. But I mentioned that zinc vitamin supplement here because few minor elements are there necessary for our body. But our major composition is made up of only those elements which are listed at the right hand side column. We do not use iron as major composition of our body, but pregnant woman needs these iron supplements, or the women which are having low hemoglobin needs iron supplement, or patients suffering from anemic conditions who has less carrying capacity of oxygen because of reduced red corpuscles, RBCs we say that, they are recommended with iron tablets. So it is not major necessity of body, it is always present in less amount. Okay. So uh, new vaccine coming they are having some base elements used, base compounds used to carry the dead strain of virus. We call it as inactive virus. But they use some base compounds, and few of the vaccines are using aluminum hydroxide. So we use this aluminum in hydroxide form in that. So we are injecting that aluminum hydroxide along with the inactivated viruses, which improves your immunity and prepares your body as a defense mechanism against COVID infection. So we are using minor elements, trace elements. Why we are going into the element level to understand the environmental impact of geological processes, because geological world is occupied all over with elements, all over with the source material, mainly sourced from the rock, and the processes like weathering, erosion, transportation, which mobilizes all these elements from one place to other place. It ultimately comes to our body. If it is in tolerable limit, it is okay. If it goes more beyond that limit, it becomes a problem. We call that as a toxic load or toxic dose. You can see I have highlighted toxic in large doses. So few trace elements, like as I mentioned, zinc in vitamin tablet, up to some limit, up to tolerable limit, it is okay, it is necessary. But if it goes beyond the limit, it becomes toxic, isn't it? You cannot swallow gold ring with water to supply gold trace element necessary for building immunity of your body. It will cause some problem, isn't it? Likewise, so any excess load is toxic. Even if you drink a lot of water, you will be suffering from some problems, though it is water is harmless. So I read it for you to summarize this slide. So it is a major concern of elements, balance of elements in the cycle of life. See, any load in the body which is more beyond tolerance is toxic. So elements are found where? It is found in the lithosphere. They again go to biosphere by multiple processes through the food, through the water. Elements migrate into the hydrosphere. How it comes into the hydrosphere? By dissolving process, by leaching process. So lithospheric content will be dissolved by weathering agents like water and ice and so on, will be dissolved and it will become a part of hydrosphere. Then it goes to atmosphere. So some elements after evaporation goes to atmosphere. Some elements which will be there in the volcanic system will be thrown into the atmosphere directly in the form of gases. If there might be experience, that is to your account, if you have roamed around the beaches, I have experience with this. You roam around along the beach for 1 hour and you lick your lips with your tongue. You will taste salty. Hope somebody has experienced it. If not, when you go to beach, remember this. Roam around on the beach for 1 hour, then test your lips with your tongue. You'll feel it is salty. So some amount of salt carried by the vapors of water will accumulate on your lips. That's why near the shores you will have more corrosion effect on the metals. Metals like iron will be more corroded. So elements become part of atmosphere this way. So elements are distributed all over. We inhale gases from surrounding. So along with the oxygen, we are given free nitrogen and some carbon and so on. If you go in the toxic atmosphere conditions, that will be inhaled again. There are few natural gases which are developed due to natural processes like volcanic eruption or some radioactive decomposition, decay. Those are part of atmospheric system, not expected there, but it is inhaled if will cause problems, respiratory problems. In some extreme conditions like diseases like cancer or total lung failure. So elements are thus distributed, but any imbalance beyond the tolerance limit will cause problems. So these elements move through different spheres by cyclic processes. Take for example rock cycle. The elements will be sourced from the lithosphere, that is rocks, impacted by different weathering agents. It will convert into different forms, and again that will go somewhere and accumulate to form some other rocks. I need not explain the details of the rock cycle. Again the sediments goes into subduction and again comes out to the volcanic eruption. This is how the cyclic process of rock. Then it goes, elements are channelized to the hydrological cycle. As I just told you, evaporation and transpiration is part of that hydrologic cycle. And evaporation is also part of uh, atmospheric processes, right? So elements move through these all spheres by cyclic processes. And we are related to these cyclic processes, aren't we? Take for example, water resources, we take it from river or lakes or underground water. We are living on it, isn't it? So we are connected to it. We are connected to weathering processes. Sediments brought from the high hill regions towards the low ground regions becomes a part of agricultural soil resource. So whatever elements brought up, from the weathering process and transportation will be entering into our body through the food generated or crop generated on the basis of that sediments. So those elements will be channelized to our food system, our food chain. So this is how we are related. That is why we are to study distribution of elements, impact of geological process on distribution of elements throughout different spheres and how they are related to the life. This is what the environmental geology is. And these what are the aspects of environmental health. So ultimately elements reaches to the organic world through different cyclic processes, through different spheres. And this is the matter of concern. As we are taking an example, in first slide, Romans used lead. Source again where? From where? From the rocks. Industrialization produces different products come to us in the form of food or some utensils of some uses or the product useful products sourced from the sourced from the nature. And again stress on the forest health impacts our life because oxygen rate production will be reduced. Erosion will cause more load of sediments and toxic elements which are migrated from the stable, otherwise stable regions to the human population. Which are the processes which causes freedom of these trace elements from the rocks? You know that natural processes are there. Like as I said that volcanic eruption, it brings out elements out into the atmosphere in the form of different toxic gases. Lava poured or ash poured on the surface or layers. These are the new materials which are the source for different elements will be loaded into that environment which was not there earlier but now newly arrived. So natural processes freeze. So we can classify what processes freeze these elements from the balanced environment to, and brings it to the imbalanced environment or causes imbalance. So there are natural processes and there are man-made processes. Both processes are involved. As I said that we'll be focusing on only natural processes. Natural processes includes mainly which is intense and continuously happening processes weathering. Weathering are of many types like chemical, mechanical, biomechanical, or biological only, purely biological, likewise. So all these weathering processes with different mechanisms of weathering frees these elements from its stable conditions and brings it to new environment, or creates new environment around the life. Then there are another hazardous natural processes like floods, landslides, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions. All these processes freeze the elements. Floods from upper reaches or catchment areas brings all this load of sediments to the place where it was not there, to the low grounds. It will bring all material in dissolved form or in solid form. Landslides, otherwise it was stable on the slopes, will material slide down and bring that material to new place where it was not there. So whatever composition of that slided material is there will be newly added to the place where the land is slided. Then earthquake. The earthquake is a mechanical movement. So it brings up some material which is hidden under the ground. Similarly, volcanic processes, as I have told you just now. So all these natural processes mobilizes these elements which were earlier stable at that environment, but as they are moved from one place to other place, they are now not stable. They will try to create balance where it has now gone by natural process, but definitely it will take time, which is odd to the tune of pace of natural process. So though we say that it is natural process, anything odd happens, anything odd mobilization of resources from one place to other place happens, it creates imbalance. So this imbalance is important, though it is natural. So this chemical load is added into the new environment and which causes problem where it has gone from one place to other place. By some way, it can be helpful, like fertile soil coming from upper reaches to the low grounds will be a benefit. More crop yield will be there. But if from upper reaches or catchment areas, if toxic elements like lead come down to the land, lowlands, so it was not expected. Some arsenic is coming from upper reaches to lower reaches. It is not expected. So harmful impact can be there, not necessarily every time beneficial impact. Main unnatural process or artificial process which mobilizes resources from one place to other place is mining activities, as you know, and we had talked about it. In mining activities, we take out material. We crush the material from one place to other place. We crush the material and then transport it from one place to other place. So the place from where it is taken out is now empty and void space, which needs to be filled. And if you don't fill it, nature will fill it. Nature will settle that gap by subsidence process or by filling water into those gaps. The place where you have transported this excavated material, there it will cause load, mechanical load, chemical load, dust load. Unwanted material which is removed from open cast mining will be thrown out. That is mostly upper layer, which is useless. We call it as overburden. It is called burden. Burden means what? Something not wanted. So overburden removed from open cast mining will be removed from its place and will be dumped somewhere. So this dump is causing problem of dust, problem of released elements into the soil, problem of released elements into the open surface water, problem of released elements into the subsurface by infiltration, which contaminates the underground water. So this dumped material is a problem. Useful material is also temporarily stored on the surface is also a problem. The ground where you are going to dump the overload or unwanted uh, discarded material covers the ground where there was earlier green cover. So green cover is under attack. So there are many ill effects of mining activities. Mainly the release of unwanted elements into the soil, water, and underground water and in air that will cause problem. So this is geological process which is mining, though artificial, but it is geological process which impacts the environment, which causes the problems on the health. So in mining activities, we crush the rock. By crushing, we increase the surface area, isn't it? If you cut a rock into two parts, the broken surface is the newly surface available for the weathering. Likewise, for take example, a cubic or cube-shaped material. Cube is having 6 faces. If you cut the cube into two parts, now how many faces are there? There are now 12 faces. 2 new faces are developed, isn't it? So these two surface areas which are now new are available newly for the weathering agents to attack on it. That means intensity of weathering will increase. Increase in intensity of weathering means more release of elements. More release of elements means that more possibility of hazard will cause, more stress it will cause in the environment. So this interaction or weathering processes, which is caused by water, oxygen, and some other processes, dramatically stresses the environment with a load of unwanted elements, which was not there but now newly added, will cause the problem. So this is the effect of mining process. Another major problem of mining is that it produces leachates, means extracts of these elements which goes into the soil, surrounding soil and solutions like water. Now these products like dumped material or useful material of mining activity will be releasing unwanted elements like zinc, copper, arsenic, mercury, sulfur, lead, silica, chlorine. These type of elements which are hazardous. If you look at the required elemental word or elemental composition in earlier slide that is used in living organisms, we need only oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, calcium, phosphorus, potassium, sodium, chlorine, and magnesium. We don't need these zinc, copper, arsenic. We don't need mercury. We don't need lead. We don't need silica. Okay, we need sulfur. We need fluorine, F. But for some different reasons, for some trace reasons, trace requirement, we need zinc for some limited use. Zinc, as we have said, vitamin C with the zinc. We need copper in very less amount, very less. But anything more beyond limit of tolerance, anything more beyond minor scale of requirement is toxic, isn't it? So, like for example, we need fluorine. What is the role of fluorine? It will strengthen your bones. It will strengthen your. It is need to strengthen your bones. It needs to strengthen your teeth. So fluorine is essential. Zinc is essential, but in less amount. But if it is released in huge amount due to mining activities, it will cause problems. Like if you see silica released more will cause problems like silicosis. If silica particles are inhaled, it will cause cancer, lung cancer. If you take more lead load, it will cause again cancer. If you take fluorine, it will cause problems like fluorosis, which increases the porosity of your bone. its density decreases. Enamel coating of teeth will be damaged, so there will be pitting or black spots on your teeth. So excess will cause problem, and all that is caused due to artificial activities or human activities. So what is important here is that element imbalance caused due to natural process or artificial process, natural process like geological processes, causes imbalance in elemental distribution and causes is more stress on the organic world or life. One example I have taken here, that is radiation of radioactive elements like uranium, as it is a important element. When it is exposed, it will cause some problems. Even when organic world is exposed to this or human beings are exposed to this, it will cause problems. And you know that weapons, nuclear weapons are using this, and we are having fear, continuously having fear of this weapon, nuclear attack, and it has more disaster possibility due to radiation. So uranium is naturally present in the rocks. It can be released by natural processes into the environment and we call natural hazard. As it is radioactive, you know that it decomposes. We say that it is having a half-life. So after every half-life, it is supposed to be a stable compound after that, more stable compound. So it goes through the gradual stages of changing. So this slide explains about conversion of uranium to lead by series of half-lives it goes through and produces different elements in its journey, throughout its journey. So uranium ends up into lead 206, a stable compound, stable element, not compound, stable element, and it goes through the phase, and at one phase we see that radon is emitted. Radon is a gas, radon 222. If you check the half-life of radon, it is just for 3 days, 3.83 days. Okay, let's say more, at the most 4 days. Okay, for our convenience. Okay, it is not exactly 4 days, it is 3.83 days. So it is having short half-life. So that means it decomposes very fast, vanishes very fast within 3.83 days. But during its stay, during its life, it has damaging intensity, damaging quality. If it is inhaled into the lungs, it will destroy your lung cells. It will decompose it. It will cause cancer to lungs. So where this radon gas is there? Radon gas is heavy. It settles to the bottom. It accumulates at the corners of the mining areas. It occurs underground, and when the miners or mining people inhales it, they will die of cancer. So damage is definite. When radon once is inhaled, it is going to definitely cause damage. What is the solution for this? We cannot stop production of radon. It is a natural process. Only solution is not to get exposed to it. Keep the area ventilated. These are the only solutions. But as production of radon is a natural process, natural geological process, we can say that it is damaging factor. It is having damaging ability. Now, if you look at the last end product of uranium decomposition, we end up with the stable lead, and we have just seen that lead is causing problems when it goes into the body, lead poisoning. It was noticed in Roman culture also. Today also, if the lead is consumed, it will cause problems. Throughout the decomposition of uranium up to the stable lead, in various stages it radiates alpha particles. You know that alpha beta are the radiations which are radiated into the uh, atmosphere in the process of decomposition of radioactive elements. These alpha particles, if we are exposed to it, then that also causes cancer. So smoking causes major cancer, and then if you want to place what else causes lung cancer apart from smoking is exposure to radon gas. So to summarize it, I can say that all of our systems are connected, interconnected. We are part of nature. We are organization of elements which are sourced from the nature. So anything happens to cause imbalance in the surrounding environment will impact us also. The world around us is heterogeneous, made up of different elements. We organize in our body few elements out of that heterogeneity. But those elements organized in our body are stable and balanced at its own environment, at its own stage or state. Anything apart from that, if it is added into our body, will cause problem, imbalance. Lead is not there in our body, but if it becomes part of our body, it will cause problem. Zinc load is tolerably in our body. If you add extra load of zinc, will cause problem in our body. Fluorine is part of our body, but anything more added will cause fluorosis. So we are a balanced phenomena. Nature is a balanced phenomena, stable at that stage of development. Anything change in that stability will cause problem. So what is the problem is intolerable balance caused due to natural activities and man-made activities. If those activities which are natural and said to be geological, if are there in tolerable balance limit, elements will be distributed in a tolerable way. Anything change which is abrupt, not in tune with the pace or time, that will cause problem. What is the Indian scenario? All over world, it is now identified as environmental geology. But a special branch of that is medical geology. It is called medical geology because geological processes which are causing impact on the health of people. Okay, geological processes which causes environmental imbalance, which causes imbalance in the elements. Imbalance in the elements brings it to the food chain or inhaling, and that becomes a problem. Load of those elements which are unexpected becomes a problem, health issue. As it is related to the geological processes, it is called as medical geology. What it is included? So if you consider the root process of medical geology is the environmental geochemistry. What is environmental geochemistry? It is sciences or interdisciplinary approach of environmental sciences, geological sciences, and chemical sciences. Elements are nothing but the chemistry. Release process of weathering and transportation is nothing but the geology. And environmental means we are related to, as a life, we are related to environment. In this definition, it says that if I come to the updated definition, it is scientific discipline. Medical geology is a scientific discipline that examines the impacts of the geological materials and geological processes. Okay, impact on humans and ecosystem. So humans are living in their own ecosystem. So anything disturbance in the ecosystem will impact the humans. Disturbance in the ecosystem cause due to natural processes, that is materials added like by geological processes will cause health issues. So it includes all natural processes, natural geological processes, and also anthropogenic, that is man-made processes, like mining activities. So whatever we have just explained is there in the definition. You can read it out afterwards. The earlier definition made by International Medical Geological Association was not having inclusion of anthropogenic processes like mining. They were having uh, definition only related to geological processes which causes release of elements and impacts the life. It was not having inclusion of mining processes. So updated definition has anthropogenic processes like mining activities, which releases the elements and causes load of unwanted elements into the different spheres. So in India, it says that it was under identity crisis. Medical geology was under identity crisis. That means nobody has accepted this as a science initially. That it is having identity crisis. This very new field of geology. So go to dentist and show the teeth problems, and doctor says teeth pitting. Doctor may not understand that is caused due to fluorosis, a load of fluorine, extra fluorine, which is taken out from the groundwater, like Usmanabad district is having load of fluorine more than a tolerable limit due to the water extracted from the deep water bore wells. And people are drinking that water because they don't have any other choice, or they don't have processing units to separate fluorine from that. So that is causing fluorosis problems, which is expressed in the form of teeth pitting, decomposition of tooth, or damage of enamel. And such person, if goes to the dentist and says that this is my problem, that dentist will not identify this is due to fluorosis, due to load of fluorine sourced from the water. That is geology. Geological Survey of India. This is again sourced to 2006. So it is a special bulletin for medical geology published in 2006. Okay, so this is also there for further reading. See, it is saying about the arsenic pollution. Okay, that we have already seen. Arsenic is sourced from the rock material which is released from leachates or lode. Can you see AS, arsenic here? Last two lines, see zinc, copper, arsenic, mercury, lead. Okay, F, fluorine, fluorosis causing fluorine, Si causes silicosis, Pb causing cancer, then Hg causing some tissue damage or burst of liver or burst of organic cells due to specific gravity, and then fumes causes some cancer. Mentioning the arsenic pollution, then further it mentions about the goiter, which is caused due to some imbalance. Then fluoride causes fluorosis. Hopes you are seeing what I am sharing on the screen. Same thing is here. Why I am going to refer this is because you can see the hands. Okay, this photograph. This arsenic poison is coming out through the hands. It comes out through different body. Can you see the legs? It's coming out through the legs. Look at the pictures carefully. Look at the teeth carefully. And same kind of references are there. Can you see? Arsenic poisoning. Okay. This will be the slide we'll be ending up with today's lecture. So this is the thematic sketch of dumped material or landfill material which is rejected from the open cast or underground mining. This is what they are called as landfill. So released elements which are there brought on the surface, which was not there, will be leached out into underground. It will flow to the river also. It will come to the surface also, and will contaminate soil, contaminate river water, and it will contaminate water table or underground water. This is the solution, which is elaborately mentioned in the research. It shows the schematic figure of landfills. So how it is generated. See, landfills needs to be properly treated. We cannot just dump it on the ground. So we should place layer of plastic below the dumped material so that it will not leach downwards into the groundwater. Again, above that plastic, we should cover the layer of soil, clay material. So leached material will be collected into the clay. So this is what the plastic sheet is, which will not allow the leached material to come into the groundwater or will migrate towards the river stream through underground water channels. So above this plastic sheet, there will be a layer of clay materials, which will collect all the leached material, leached extra toxic elements. Okay, and from that dump, gases will be emitted into the atmosphere. So that we have to collect those gases, use it for some turbines if it is useful to burn, or dissolve that into liquid and then dispose that liquid properly. Use the content of that liquid for some chemical processing. So this shows pipes which are inserted into the dump. This pipe, central pipe, collects the gas which is useful for burning, because gas will be produced by decomposition process. This is another model of domestic dump material, domestic waste material dumping, where so this is the lowest green layer. Okay, is a ground rock, normal rock. Above that is a black layer of a plastic sheet. You see this plastic, this is black plastic sheet. Why it is laid down there? Because the toxic material should not be leached out or leaked out into the surrounding rocks or bottom rocks. So plastic is laid here, placed here. Above that layer, plastic layer is a clay layer, clay material layer. Why it is so? Whatever leached material is settled here into the lower part of the dumped material can be extracted through the pipelines and be sent to the processing units. So these toxic elements will be extracted out, drained through the pipeline, pumped out through the pipelines, and can be placed in the storage tanks and sent it for the processing, further processing, so that these toxic elements will not be entering into the bedrock or underground water. Okay. So above that clay material is a fabric, thick fabric, so that this dumped material will not mix up with into the clay material. Otherwise, this will become ineffective. So porous fabric is used. In the dumped material, some organic gas is generated that can be used for combustion and generation of electricity through the turbines. You can see the pipeline generated here. So this is network of pipelines. You can see that it dips to different levels. One pipeline goes to the clay level where some amount of gas will be developed there also. That is burning gas. Then other pipe goes to the first filling level, first dumped level. Other goes to third upper shallow level dump. Then this pipe goes to topmost layer of the dump. All levels or all layers of the dump are producing gas, which can be used for combustion. You can see that there is a deliberate anticline-like design produced here. Why? Because from this region, the gas will be migrated normally, naturally toward this trap of design, that is anticlinal trap of design. So gas will migrate, gas molecules will migrate towards, it will try to liberate out. But due to cover of this dump, it cannot liberate easily. That is capping layer of soil cannot liberate easily. So that will be channelized through the anticline like design. Like you knows that natural traps of gas are anticlinal rocks, where crust of anticline will be having maximum amount of gas. Same type of design is used here. Okay, so this is how the dump is properly treated. May it be domestic dump or mining dump. This was about geological aspects of environmental health. It moves all about imbalance of elements which enters into afterwards our body, which causes health issues, and those release of elements are due to natural geological process and man-made processes like mining activities. So hopes you got it.